Welcome, and thank you for standing by. At this time, all lines are on a listen-only mode until the question and answer portion of today's call. At that time, to ask a question, you may press star 1. Today's call is being recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this time. And I will now turn today's call over to Lynn Harrelson. Ma'am, you may begin.
Hello, and welcome to our Financial Education Webinar Series for Library Staff. I'm Lynn Harrelson.
And I'm Dan Rutherford.
We're with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's Office of Financial Education. Today's webinar is part of an ongoing educational series to help library staff build knowledge and become more comfortable helping patrons. Today's webinar will focus on retirement resources for people of all ages. We have some very special guests today who will share their expertise and answer your questions about tools you or your patrons could use to plan for retirement, and how you can engage other experts in your community to lead programs or one-on-one workshops at your library. In just a moment, we will introduce our guests and give them a few minutes to discuss what they do and explain how to use their resources. Then we will open up the phone lines for questions. Before you ask a question, please provide your name and affiliation so we know who we're talking to and where you're from. We are recording this webinar, so your questions and comments will be recorded too.
You can also ask questions using the Q&A window on your screen. Simply click the Q&A button and type in your question. When you click Ask, the question will appear on our screens, and we will respond either on the spot or during the Q&A session.
It generally takes a few weeks for us to review and post these recordings, so we ask that you please be patient. We will post the video in the Library Resources section of our website, the web address on the screen. On that page, you'll also see our list of upcoming webinar topics. We hold these webinars on a monthly basis. We have changed some of the topics around, if you'll notice, and done some rescheduling. So if you haven't been to the page recently, you might want to check that or send your contact information to financialeducation@cfpb.gov and ask to be added to our email list.
And now I'd like to introduce our guests for today. First is Sarah K. Holt. She's a Supervisory Benefits Advisor from the U.S. Department of Labor's Employee Benefits Security Administration, or EBSA. In this role, she provides advice regarding employee benefits, law to plan participants and beneficiaries, and offers compliance assistance to plan sponsors and service providers. Ms. Holt has more than 16 years' experience in the benefits arena and regularly gives presentations to public and private organizations on behalf of the department. She received her BA from UC Berkeley and her JD from McGeorge Law School. We also have with us today John R. Dick Power. He's a certified financial planner and the national chairman of the Financial Planning Association's Pro Bono program. As chairman, he works closely with the Foundation for Financial Planning, which assists in managing the association's pro bono outreach. There are more than 90 financial planning association chapters across the nation. Dick is passionate about helping others and will talk about how pro bono financial planners can assist with library programming. Sarah, why don't you start us off by telling us about what the Department of Labor has to offer. Sarah?
Thank you so much, Dan. I'm really excited to be here today with all of you. Thank you very much. A big thank you to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau for inviting us. I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, Department of Labor, what are they doing there? Well, let me tell you, we've got a lot to offer, and we love working with our libraries. I'm very happy to welcome you to Help in Achieving a Secure Retirement, Resources for Your Library. I'm Sarah Holt from the San Francisco Regional Office of the U.S. Department of Labor's Employee Benefits Security Administration. Basically, we're the agency that administer the laws that govern employee benefits, so health, pension, a lot of those issues come under our purview. Many of your visitors have jobs that offer benefits, such as retirement and health benefits. Workplace benefits are important to understand and use to help improve finances today and in the future. A workplace retirement plan is the easiest way for many people to save for a secure retirement. Your visitors likely are looking for answers to questions they have about how benefit plans work and how the law applies to them. How can I maximize my benefits? My employer's offering this. What can I do? How can I save? Am I going to be okay for retirement? There's all kinds of questions that come up. I'm going to talk about some programs and related resources that the Department of Labor has available and can provide to you to help employees understand their retirement and health benefits, as well as the laws that govern them. And not just employees, but people looking for work or trying to enter the job market. We have all kinds of programs for different stages in people's lives. So who is EBSA and what is ERISA, the law that governs employee benefits? Well, we are the U.S. Department of Labor's Employee Benefit Security Administration, EBSA or EBSA. Government loves their acronyms. We administer and enforce a federal law called ERISA, which stands for the Employee Retirement Income Securities Act. It's a mouthful, but it's the law which protects retirement and health benefit plans sponsored by private sector employees. An important way EBSA assists workers and employers is through education and outreach. In fact, it's part of our mandate that we go out and make presentations such as the one that I'm doing right now. We provide consumer information and tools on saving for retirement, retirement itself, and health plan protection under the law, and helping workers who have lost their jobs. We do this through publications, web tools such as calculators, videos, and through outreach, which includes free, let me say that again, free in-person workshops and webcasts. It's your tax dollars at work, as we like to say around here. Today I will highlight some of the programs we offer on saving for retirement to achieve a financial secure future. If you get questions from workers for information on ways to save for long-term financial goals, such as retirement, of course, how benefit plans work, and what protections they have under the law, the Employee Benefit Security Administration can help. We have many programs and related resources that address these issues and can help your visitors find what they need. Our resources are available in print, online, and many are available in Spanish. We also have other publications in different languages. We're starting to come out with several publications that are in several of the Asian languages. We also have, and I will provide this at the end of my presentation, a phone number. It's a toll-free number that's good nationwide. It doesn't matter where you call from. You can dial this number, and it routes you to the office that services the area that you're calling from. So if you call from Nevada, or you call from Utah or Northern California, you get routed to San Francisco. If you call from Arizona, you get routed to Los Angeles. And what's good about that is that we have a lot of resources, not just for our own office, but we try to have a lot of resources available that the state might offer. So if you call an office in a particular region, they can tell you what some of the states in their region have to offer for you. So we try to not just provide what we have available, but sometimes what other nonprofits or governmental agencies have available. Next slide, please. I think I skipped one slide. You'll forgive me on that one now. We're at retirement savings. Should say at the top. I'm having technical difficulties in the visual aspect, so you will all have to forgive me on that front. So retirement savings. Our goal is for workers to have a secure retirement and helping them take advantage of a workplace plan that is easiest way for many to save and is our starting point. Taking advantage of an employer-provided plan has another benefit. The employer match. It's free money. The employer match is a free money. That's what we like to tell people. So you want to get involved as early as you can, and if you can only put a little bit aside, put a little bit aside, but then you get the match from the employer, and sometimes that'll double the amount of money that goes into your plan. So it's really good to know what plan your employer offer, what are their matching if they do have matching, and how to maximize that. And we can help you with that. We encourage workers to try to maximize the employer match if they can, since it's free money, a great return on their savings before they've even started. Life events are key points in time when people focus on benefits, including retirement savings. So our Savings Matters education campaign, which helps workers through their career, focuses its programs and resources on 3 key points in a worker's career: at the point of their first job, mid-career as life changes with family and job occur, and then as they near retirement. Retirement will be the biggest expense of a worker's lifetime. Savings for retirement during a worker's career is critical to their future financial security. Social Security alone will not do it. People are living longer. Life is getting expensive. I don't need to tell anyone who lives in California and certainly in the Bay Area. Rent's going up. Housing is very expensive. So you always have to kind of be looking ahead. And retirement savings is critical to having a comfortable retirement. While earlier generations of workers could rely on employer-provided pensions, now many workers will need to rely on their own work-related and personal savings plus Social Security benefits. These savings have to last longer because people are living longer, often into their 80s and 90s. We encourage workers to start saving early to get time on their side. But note, it's very important, it is never too late to start. The important thing is that you start and keep contributing. Next slide, please. So let's start at the beginning, new job entrants. What can we offer people who are starting in their careers or just coming out of college or just getting their new jobs? Starting a new job is for many the start of their financial life. They have a lot of financial issues to consider and decisions to make. There are many demands on their new income as well. And from a personal standpoint, I understand that very well. Since I had student loans, housing, I was moving out, I had all kinds of expenses when I got my first job. And the thought of participating in a retirement plan was daunting. Not that I didn't want to, the will was there, but I often wondered, am I going to be able to participate and make rent and pay my loans? Student loans are an issue faced by many as well, and need for housing and a car as well as other things you would like to do, such as a vacation. This is also a great time to start saving for retirement. Although it's many years away, this is when you first get informed on your employer's retirement plan and can take advantage of it, including any free money that may be offered through an employer's matching contributions. Starting early to save for retirement lets you get time on your side. We always tell people the example of someone who saves $100 a month between the age of 20 and 30 and stops at 30 is going to have more money at retirement than someone who starts at 30 and keeps going. Why? Time is on their side. Again, it's never too late to start. Even for myself, I didn't start till I was 30, so I was a late starter because I was in graduate school and everything. But I started, and I just keep going a little bit at a time. That's what you want to do. We offer calculators to help you with that, but the important thing is that you start and keep on going. Our program for new job entrants helps new workers get a good financial start. We know that they will not consider saving for retirement in isolation. It is not a priority. I mentioned before, my student loans, rent, the car. Although it should be in the budget. It needs to be talked about. It needs to be stressed how important it is that you join the retirement account because you get, one, the free money, which is the match in most cases. And if not, you get time on your side. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit of money in the beginning. The important thing, like I said, is to get started. We partnered with the Certified Financial Planner Board of Standards to develop a series of worksheets and a calculator to help new job entrants get their financial life in order and see how easy it is to make saving for retirement, especially through a workplace plan. All these resources are available for your patrons. We have publications. I'll discuss a few more of those. Like I said, we have these worksheets, and we have all different things that we can bring with us to the table if we make a presentation, or we can offer to you if you want to have it at your library. I once walked into a library in Kansas and had it was kind of Financial Awareness Week, and had a lot of our publications, a lot of nonprofit publications, and just worksheets on their desk to help their patrons. We have all of that available, and again, this is all for free. We first help people identify their goals, both short-term, such as a vacation, as well as long-term, such as retirement. We then help them set up a budget and track it to see if they need to make adjustments to meet their budget goal. The budget worksheets break out all types of income they might have and then an extensive list of expenses so they can see where their money goes. Among the places for their money to go is saving for retirement. It has to be a priority and it has to be put in there. That's an expense. Saving for retirement is an expense because it does need to be a priority. Putting it off means having a lot of money later. If you put it off, you won't have as much money later on. For every 10 years you wait means you will need to save 3 times as much each month you catch up. And see, I fall into that one because I didn't start till I was 30. Our financial planning basics also helps new workers determine how much of their salary they should be saving for retirement to meet their goal of a secure future. It takes into account their employer match and Social Security. Other worksheets help them manage their debt and pull their financial documents together. Visitors can save their work online on these online worksheets and come back and finish it later. It's not like you have to do everything at once. You create an account and you can start putting in your information, and maybe you need to get some additional data that you don't have, or maybe you run out of time. It's set up so that you can come back later and update it. Also, life changes may require that you update it. You're able to do that as well. You'll have your account. We want new workers to see how they can make saving for retirement a habit, starting small if they need to but then revising each year when they update their budget to see if they can increase their savings, such as pay increase, or in my case, I sometimes get cost of living increases at the end of the year. And that's the way that I oftentimes was able to increase my contribution into my 401k. It's not called a 401k, it's called a thrift savings with the federal government, but it's basically a 401k. The free workshops we provide for new job entrants walk the audience through the online interactive worksheets to help them see how easy it is so that they can go home and do it themselves. We also highlight the importance of saving for retirement and starting early. As part of discussing the advantage of saving through a workplace plan, we also provide basic information on these plans, the various types, how they work, and more. And by that I mean some employers have 401ks, some have SEP IRAs, some have simple IRAs. Some have the old-style pension, the defined benefit plan, but you have an option of a Roth IRA. There's all these different kinds of plans, and we discuss these in our workshops so that we can talk to our audience about what options they particularly may have and what are some of the requirements, their rights and responsibilities into each of these plans, not just for those participating, the employees, but also, of course, the employers. We provide the audience with our workbook. It's called Savings Fitness Publication. The workshops, along with the publication and online worksheets, are available in both English and Spanish. We can make the presentations in English and Spanish, and indeed, here in the San Francisco Regional Office, we have jurisdiction over Utah, Nevada, and Northern California, and we've done several of these workshops here in San Francisco. We partner with the San Francisco Library System. We reached out to Fresno, we've worked with Salt Lake City, and we've worked with Las Vegas as well. We've done them in both English and Spanish. To take a look at the worksheet, please see the list of resources at the end of this presentation or in the handout tab on this webcast for the link. We also have other supporting materials for those of you who want more information, such as the publication, What You Should Know About Your Retirement Plan. This is a really good publication to personally have. I'm not saying it's the most exciting reading. Of course, it can be a little technical at times, but it's critical for everyone, that includes myself, to understand what their rights and responsibilities are in regards to retirement plans, you know. When can I take my money out? If I do, am I taxed? I mean, we talk about this in our workshops, but sometimes you're not going to be able to offer a workshop, but you can have the publications available, and all that information is in there. Next slide, please. We have a couple of shorter publications to help new job entrants get started saving for retirement. New Employee Saving Tips, Time is on Your Side is one. It's a one-page publication that can be included as part of an employer's new employee packet. It highlights the advantages of a workplace plan and of starting early with an example of two savers, and it gives examples of what happens to those two. It provides tips to get started, including learning about some basic investment choices and the benefits of leaving the money in the plan. We also have top 10 ways to prepare for retirement. We also have publications to help workers and their employer's plan, how to understand their employer's plan, their protections under the law, and how to make the best use of their plan, such as understanding fees related to their investment choices. Oftentimes there will be fees if you invest in certain investment vehicles, or if you switch your money around, there might be some fees, and sometimes there isn't. But all that information will be provided in what is called the summary plan description, which is the booklet that your employer gives you when you join the plan. And we can talk to you about that. If you don't have the summary plan description, you can ask for it from your employer, and we can talk to you about it individually. You can call our office if you have any questions, or at the workshop we can also go over them as well. As noted, we also have videos to reach out to new job entrance audience and attract their interest. We try to be versatile here at EBSA. I know sometimes people don't think of the government as being very versatile, but we are trying to do everything we can to reach as many people as possible. Like I said, part of our mandate is to do outreach and presentations, so we try to do so in person. If we're unable to do so in person, we have videos. We also have a lot of resources online. We have our publications. We put them out in multiple languages. We can do webinars if you'd like to do webinars. We will come to the site. Again, this is all free. Next slide, please. So let's talk about mid-career. We talked about new job entrants. So what happens mid-career? What are some of the issues particularly that affect people who are halfway through their career? Mid-career workers have been working for a few years, but their financial and personal situations likely have changed. They may be making more money and have a retirement plan, but they also may have new or different demands on their money, such as a spouse, a new home, or children. It can be hard to focus on saving for retirement, but it's very important at this stage of their careers to make it part of their financial planning. It's an expense, and you just leave it in there. If you started participating early, it's automatic. It keeps coming up, and you just make it a priority, and you leave it there. Our program for mid-career workers encourages those that are not saving to start. For those who are saving, the key is to keep going and track their progress so that they can make changes as needed. By that I mean, if you decide to invest in a certain vehicle and you track it for a few years and realize you're not really getting all that much of a return on the investment, then perhaps it's time to look at the other investment options that are offered through your plan. That's one of the things that we discuss for mid-career is where have you been investing your money? Maybe it's time to reconsider. We use the financial planning worksheets discussed for new job entrants from our Savings Fitness publication to either get them started or hopefully keep them going with their financial track. Part of this includes making savings a habit, very important. We have mid-career workers review their target retirement savings rate to see if they should have more for a secure retirement, as well as checking their budget to see if they can save more. Can you put in an extra $5 every month? Can you put in an extra 10? Is it invested properly for you? Maybe you should make some changes. These are the kinds of things that we discuss with mid-career employees. The mid-career program also encourages workers to be familiar with their plan, review the information they receive from their plan. That's that summary plan document that I mentioned earlier. You usually get that when you first join the plan. A lot of people misplace that, as the passing of time, but you can always get a copy of it. You can go to your HR department, or you can write a letter to your employer, send it certified to prove they got it and to the date, because by law your employer has to provide you a copy of the summary plan description within 30 days of your request. So you can always get that, and you can then compare what are your rights and responsibilities in regards to your specific pension plan. The other thing to remember is not all 401k plans are the same. Maybe you worked for one employer that had a 401k plan, and now you've moved on to a different one, and their 401k plan may be different. Maybe they have different investment options. Maybe they have a different vesting schedule. The money that you put in from your paycheck is always yours. Vesting has to do with the employer match. How long do I have to work there in order to be entitled, in order to be able to keep the money that the employer puts in on my behalf? It's very important to look at those things, because if you're close to being fully vested and you're thinking about changing jobs, then perhaps it would be a good financial decision to wait those extra few months and then change jobs, because that way you're fully vested in your pension monies. And then when you leave, you can take everything with you. Not cash it out, but you could roll it out to your local bank and have an individual retirement account for yourself. You should become familiar with your plan's investment options and the related fees so you can make informed decisions. The free workshops we provide for mid-career workers walk the audience through the online interactive worksheets to help them either get started or answer their questions as they track their progress. Next slide, please. So we're still talking about mid-career, but I wanted to talk about a few additional resources we have, a few additional publications. You see some photos there. I do want to mention that all our publications are available online in PDF formats. I'll give you our website as we go through. It's also in the slides. So you can access any of these publications online and see if you like them, kind of peruse them at your leisure. And if you like any of them, you can give us a call. I'll also give you our phone number. Again, it's good nationwide. And you can request a quantity of those publications be sent to you, and it'll be done so, again, for free. You can ask a lot of times you might have an event. We participated in St. George, Utah. They invited us to a conference on women and finance. So we had a lot of publications generally about financial fitness, but we also included, we had a few publications specifically for women, and our presentation was focused towards women. So those are some of the options, but you can look at some of our publications here. Like I said, a lot of them are in Spanish as well as in English, and they're starting to come out in several of the Asian languages, especially those that are written for dislocated workers or workers that are being laid off. So what you should know about your retirement publication provides information how employment-based retirement plans work, as well as protections provided by the federal retirement law, ERISA, which I discussed earlier. We have a publication at a look at your 401k plan fees. That's very important because every time you're paying fees, that's money that you lose because you don't, one, you're paying it out and you don't get compound interest on it. There's another one, maximize your retirement savings. You can see here one of the women one, women in retirement savings. We have publications for women. We have for, like I said, new job entrants, our worksheets, generally on savings fitness. We have all kinds of publications, again, all free. And our short video that we have is called A Look at 401k Fees that highlights the importance of considering fees when choosing among your plan's investment options and using the information provided by your plan to help you evaluate and decide. Next slide, please. So let's talk about as you near retirement. This is kind of, I would say that this is what most of our callers, they're getting close to retirement. It's kind of at the forefront. Can I retire at 55? Do I have to wait till 60? You know, is everything on track as I planned? So we have some presentations that are directly geared to this kind of individual or your patron. So if you want to have a workshop for retirees or people getting ready to retire, we can do that. Sometimes people will retire from one job and then take another in a different industry, so they're interested to see, well, how will that affect my retirement income? We can talk about that as well. Our program for workers nearing retirement focuses on those that are 10 to 15 years from retirement. Although retirement is getting close, they still have time to make changes so that they can enjoy a secure retirement. Our program for near retirement workers helps them track their progress and make changes if they have a savings gap. Our Taking the Mystery Out of Retirement Planning, that's another one of our publications, also has worksheets and helps near retirement workers chart their current savings and expenses, what they anticipate they will have at retirement, and the expected changes, particularly for expenses in retirement. The worksheets project future savings and expenses over a possible 30-year retirement. Remember, people are living a lot longer, so you have to plan for that. This is the time period experts suggest you plan for based on life expectancy after retirement so that workers don't outlive their savings. The worksheets in covering the spend down over retirement help the near retirement worker determine if there is a gap so that they can save more to close that gap while they have time before retirement. The publication also provides information on other ways to close the savings gap, such as working an additional year. Maybe you were planning on retirement at 55. Well, once you did this review, you realize, you know what, I'm going to have to wait a year or two. This was particularly true with the meltdown in 08. We had a lot of people who had planned to retire, you know, in 09, who had planned to retire in 2010, who realized they just couldn't do it with the collapse of the stock market. The money they thought they were going to have just wasn't there. So they had to work an extra year or two or even 3. Or people who got laid off all of a sudden had to look for another job because they realized that with the fall of the stock market, they weren't going to be able to survive on what they had. So they wanted to get an additional job or a part-time job, and we discussed these things in our workshops. The publication also provides information on the considerations for when to begin Social Security benefits and how to make retirement savings last over retirement. An online version of Taking the Mystery uses interactive worksheets. Visitors can save their information and come back to complete or update it as needed. DOL cannot access their information. This is not something where we're collecting data. Absolutely not. This is your information if you create it, and only you can see it. We provide the worksheets, but then you keep your own information. We can't see it at all. To take a look at the worksheets, please see the list of resources later in the presentations or in the handout tab. At our free workshops, we provide the workbook with the worksheets along with a retirement toolkit. The workshops, again, like I said before, are also available in Spanish. Next slide, please. Again, a few more of our retirement publications, as you can see there. We have a retirement toolkit publication. It's a one-stop shopping tool to help workers plan before they retire so that they can prepare to make informed decisions for their retirement. We developed it with 2 other federal agencies that are involved in key elements of retirement planning and security, the Social Security Administration and the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The toolkit includes a timeline for retirement planning that highlights the key points when decisions are needed. The publication provides information on the issues involved with workplace retirement plans, Social Security benefits, and Medicare. The toolkit also includes information and resources on avoiding scams. Filing a claim for your retirement benefit publications explains the protections under the law for the process of filing a claim for benefits, including the appeals process when a claim is denied. Sometimes a claim can be denied if, especially in the old retirement, where they plugged in your age, years of service, and they do a formula and you get a check every month. Those oftentimes required a certain amount of time to be vested in those plans, and a lot of times younger workers aren't thinking about being vested in a retirement plan. They're thinking, no, I want to change job because it'll be more exciting to go to this different job where they pay me more in my paycheck. I know they don't offer benefits, but I'm still going to change jobs. And oftentimes those are non-informed decisions because had they just stayed a little bit longer with the first job, they could have invested in that retirement plan. And once you're vested and you leave, it doesn't matter. The money is yours, so you can come back later and claim your retirement. Again, these are some of the questions that a lot of people have, and they can call us directly, and we can work directly with your patrons to help them answer any questions about their particular plan. Like I said, we do the workshops, of course, and we can talk to them there. But if they have a question later on, they can call our office directly, and our benefit advisors can work with them one-on-one to help them answer any questions. I should also mention to you that we have a translation service. We have a contract with a translation service of 180 languages. So if anyone calls our toll-free number, and I'll be handing it out soon, if anyone calls that number and they are not native speakers and prefer to speak in their native language, we can immediately bring on a live translator onto the line. 180 languages. We have yet to have a caller that we have not been able to assist in their native language, so that's a great resource. We try to have people on staff who speak Spanish. We have that here in San Francisco, and other offices have it as well. We also have people who speak Mandarin and Cantonese. But if by chance we happen to have someone who maybe calls us in Urdu or Arabic, well, we do have someone who speaks Arabic here, but you know what I mean, we can get the translator on the line immediately to assist them. So that's another service that we offer. Okay. Next slide, please. So health benefits. I know we're talking about financial fitness and pensions, so where does health benefits come into play? Well, it's a huge deal, because a lot of the expenses that people deal with as they get older are the expenses related to health. So when you're planning for retirement, you also have to think about health benefits, because you have to be able to stay healthy and be able to get your prescriptions and maximize the benefits you have. We administer the laws just like we do a pension. We also administer the laws that deal with health benefits through private employers. A lot of the new provisions of the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare as it's called in the general public, we administer that along with Health and Human Services, so we can also assist people with those kinds of calls. In the last few minutes that I have left, I would like to tell you a little bit about the other resources we have available for you regarding workers and their health benefits. The health care coverage that many workers get through employment-based health plan is important not only for their physical health, but also their financial health, as I just mentioned. There are many life and work events that can impact this health coverage. That is why it is important for workers and their families to know their rights and responsibilities under the federal health benefit laws ahead of time so that they can make timely, informed decisions when needed. The Department of Labor also provides health benefits education for workers in employment-based health benefit plans. The education focuses on life and work events and the benefit decisions they impact and the rights and responsibilities triggered by these events. By that I mean a layoff, or you're about to quit. You get married, you have a child. These are all, you get a divorce. These are all life events, and they can affect your health benefits. And we are available to assist you. We can give a workshop on this, or you can call our toll-free number, and we can help you as well. The education also encourages workers to make the most of their employment-based health plan. The protections under the federal health benefit laws include information about their plan, key time frames for decisions, and filing a claim for their benefits. They include well-known laws. We spoke about ERISA, which is the law that governs employee benefits. I mentioned just earlier the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. But we also administer the laws that deal with COBRA. A lot of you have heard about COBRA, and HIPAA. Not just the privacy. Privacy is Health and Human Services, but HIPAA is the law that deals with special enrollment rights if you get married, all of that. We administer those laws, and we can help you and make a presentation on those as well. Next slide, please. Here you can see a few of the samples of some of the health benefits publications that we have available. Top 10 ways to make your health benefits work for you. Life changes require health choices. Know your benefit options. Work changes require health choices. By that usually comes in if you're being laid off, if your hours are cut, if you used to be a full-time employee and now you're a part-time employee. If you quit, like I said, laid off, you need to know what your rights are. We also have a publication on your rights after a mastectomy and an employee's guide to health benefits under COBRA. We also have a publication for that. A lot of our publications are for employees. We also have a lot of publications for employers. We do a lot of workshops through the Small Business Development Center. So if any of your libraries are doing a small business week, we can participate in that. We can do publications and presentations to small business owners or mid-sized employers. We do compliance assistance for them. The Mexican consulate does the Week of the Worker at the end of August. So we are participating in a lot of presentations with all kinds of aspects of workers' rights in regards to pension and health care in Spanish. We're doing them in Vegas, in San Francisco, and in Salt Lake City in our region. But any of these presentations are available nationwide. We have offices throughout the United States. We have 16 offices, 16 regional offices, and different states fall into different offices depending. We're a little different in how our regions were created. It has to do with how many pension plans exist. So for San Francisco, we have Utah, Nevada, Northern California, and then we have Oregon, Idaho, Washington, and Alaska. In our region, we do have a Seattle district office. But all of these services are available nationwide. We also travel to Hawaii, and we also travel to Puerto Rico. So these are all available to any of you who want to have us come and give a presentation. Next slide, please. So let me just quickly summarize our resources. Like I mentioned multiple times, we have a lot of educational programs and materials to help employees make the most of their workplace benefits. And like I said, we also have them for employers who may have questions. We do both sides, compliance assistance as well as outreach to employees. We have publications, worksheets, videos, speakers that can do in-person workshops, webcasts, live and archived. We have them on our website. And we also have dedicated websites. You can see here, savingsmatters.dol.gov is one of our main resources that has a lot of those worksheets. To sum up, DOL has many, many educational programs and materials to help employees make the most of their workplace benefits. And we want to partner with our libraries. We love our libraries. We know that you have limited resources just like us, and we are happy to make an hour presentation. We can make it 15 minutes. We can do tabling events. If you don't have space for presentations, we can participate by doing tabling events. Whatever your needs are, call our toll-free number. I'll give it right now. It's also one of the slides, but I keep referencing it, so I should probably give it to you. It's 1-866-444-3272. Again, 866-444-3272. This number is good nationwide, and you can dial it, and you will be routed to the office that services the phone number that you're calling from. So if you call from Oklahoma, you'll be routed to Dallas. If you call from Georgia, you'll be routed to our Atlanta office. But it's a toll-free number, and you'll be routed to a benefit advisor. You can ask for a benefit advisor, and they can assist you with either publications or setting up a workshop or presentation that you might like. Or if you just have questions. You can also give this number to your patrons. If they have questions about their pension plan, about health plans, by all means, please, you can give this number to your patrons, and they can call us directly, like I said.
Thanks, Sarah. You'll be able to ask Sarah questions in just a few more moments, or you can type them into the chat window now, and we'll answer them during the Q&A session. Next up is Dick Power from the Financial Planning Association. Dick, are you ready to go ahead?
I certainly am. And I'm going to try to make this short, give us plenty of time for questions. I'd like to talk about the Foundation for Financial Planning and the Financial Planning Association and what we can do to help. The Foundation for Financial Planning is a 501c3. That is a charitable organization whose main purpose is to provide free financial planning services and manage them through documents and programs to advance financial planning for the general public. And when we talk about pro bono, I'm not a Latin scholar, but I think pro bono means for good, meaning for the good of the people. So anything that we talk about associated with pro bono is a free service, and we've got some rules and regulations around which we do that to make sure that everyone is protected appropriately. Next chart, please. So this essentially tells you what we do is match up financial planning professionals like myself. I've been a certified financial planner for 23 years, and we match them up with an opportunity to provide education or some other vehicle to help people in the community. We've had thus far 13,000 professionals like myself providing planning to over 350,000 people over the last few years. It's a very major part of what the Financial Planning Association does, and it's the whole mission in life for the Foundation for Financial Planning. Next chart. The Foundation is the main organizational connection to work in this library initiative. And what I'm going to talk about over the next few charts is how that could best work. And there's some points down here, though. The last one with regard to the FINRA IEF grantees, and there's some rule about FINRA IEF grantees not accepting services and so forth and so on. Anybody from the Financial Planning Association pro bono program is not, by definition, a FINRA IEF grantee. We're from a nonprofit 501c6 business association, and so there's no limitations associated with that. Next chart, please. The Foundation for Financial Planning manages the pro bono program for the Financial Planning Association. We, as a national association of professional financial planners, have 90 chapters spread across the country, so it's a pretty good chance that we have a good functioning active chapter in your area, and almost every chapter has a pretty good-sized pro bono program to reach out to the community. All of the people that do pro bono under our program are required to go through a pro bono boot camp so that they understand very well the rules about pro bono, and we emphasize all the time there are no sales, there are no strings attached. In fact, our planners that come in and do educational presentations, workshops, a one-on-one advice to an individual client that's coming into a library to participate in this kind of thing. We don't even hand out business cards, do anything of that sort. So people do not get engaged in that kind of thing. What we'd like to do, it says down here, go to 1FBA.org to find a chapter, but in fact what would be preferable would be for you to contact the Foundation for Financial Planning, and we'll connect you at your library with the local chapter. That's the most vital, effective way to use our resources, and they can come together effectively for your people. Next chart, please. These three organizations here, the Financial Planning Association, CFP Board, and the National Association of Personal Financial Advisors, or fee-only planners, combined together are called the Financial Planning Coalition. We all adopt the fiduciary standard for our clients and have very stable codes of ethics that we're required to follow. It's collectively, I think you could say, we are the highest standard of financial planning in the business. And our people are all volunteers and meet the criteria we discussed earlier. Next chart, please. This just describes what our pro bono kind of work is. It's a generic kind of chart, but is there simply to reinforce to you that we're doing our work at no fee and no potential business prospect at all. It simply is for the good of the people that participate. And we can provide educational sessions, we can provide workshops, we can do one-on-one sessions, we'll review data, we'll help them to establish the goals. Many of the things that were talked about in the prior presentation, we of course do that same kind of thing, but that's fundamentally our business. That's what we do for a living. We've got rather advanced education and experience in doing that kind of thing for people. Next chart. These are the kinds of things that we sort of have in the can to provide in terms of financial education. But I'll just say this about retirement planning, which I think you'll find down there in the middle of the right-hand column, real-world retirement planning. Every financial planner does retirement planning. That is fundamentally something we do for every single client we have. So I can't speak for every certified financial planner, but I know I've never done a financial plan that didn't have detailed planning for retirement, even for young kids. I could tell you lots of stories, but we don't have time to do that. Next chart, please. Okay, what we really like to do is work with the library to design the kinds of events and kinds of approaches that would work for you. So as I mentioned, the best thing to do is contact the foundation, and we'll match you up with a pro bono chairperson from a local chapter. So it'll be working within your community to serve the people in your community, because we like to work with community-based organizations for our pro bono programs. And so we can provide workshops to educate people. Those then can lead to mini one-on-one planning sessions, and those in turn might even lead to longer range kinds of sessions. Next chart, please. So you can see a picture here that shows something. This is probably from one of our financial planning days, which are educational and workshop kind of settings. You can see a couple folks on a long table. On one side of the table is probably a planner, and the other is one of the participants in the workshops. It's, of course, ideal if you got little private spaces to meet, but this works. I've done these kinds of things in auditoriums. I've done them at the State House in Massachusetts. They can work in all kinds of settings. Next chart, please. So you can get in touch with the Foundation for Financial Planning to get more information about this. I would say there's an email down there for Noreen Coughlin. She's the person that coordinates with the Financial Planning Association to run our financial planning program, and Noreen would respond to that email and get you connected up with a chapter leader in pro bono work in your local area, so you can have an ongoing dialogue, face-to-face meeting, sit down and do some real planning and do something over a decent period of time. You could run a whole series of things, not just about retirement planning, but all of the pieces and parts that are essential to a person's healthy financial life. That's what we're about in our pro bono program. Next chart. Or is that the last chart? Here we go. So now is an opportunity for folks to come online and ask questions. Dan?
Yeah, Aaron, why don't you go ahead and provide the instructions for listeners to queue up the questions, please.
If you would like to ask a question on the audio, please press *1, unmute your phone, and record your name. Your name and company is required in order to introduce your question. So again, that's *1, unmute your phone, and record your name, and it will take just a few moments for any questions to queue.
Sure. While we're waiting, both of the panelists mentioned handouts. If you look in the upper right corner of your screen, you'll see an icon that looks like 3 sheets of paper. If you click on that, that's the Handouts tab, and you can download the materials that we've uploaded for you there. While we're waiting for the questions, let me just ask Dick, if someone comes up to a librarian or into the library and says they're with the FDA or they're a CFP and they want to do a workshop, what would you recommend, or how would you suggest that the librarian sort of check the credentials of the individual and verify that they've taken this boot camp?
What I would do is get in touch with Noreen Coughlin to that email address that I showed you on the last chart, because we run it through our chapter. Our people don't wander in to try to set up a program. They wander, if they come in, they are representing a local chapter from the Financial Planning Association. So it would most likely be the chairperson for pro bono work or somebody who had been sort of commissioned by that chapter to engage in a program with libraries and was proposing a format. It's not a one-off kind of thing and one-person show. Typically we'll come in with, depending on the number of people, a couple of folks, so that somebody might give an educational presentation and there might be, as you saw in that picture, there might be a half a dozen planners there if it was going to be a big audience. I think that unlikely, but there might be one or two, probably 2 or 3 people, so that they can have these 15 to 30-minute one-on-one sessions with participants after they've participated in the educational venue. But I'd run it through the chapter. There's no way you can vet somebody individually.
Great. Aaron, do we have any questions online?
Showing no questions in queue at this time.
Let me suggest to somebody in those attachments or downloads, one of the pieces in there that we put up was a toolkit, and it's specifically focused on the library program. So it's sort of a way you might go about setting up a program that might be helpful. There are just endless numbers of ways that one can put together one of these sessions, whether it be an education forum, a workshop, one-on-one planning. There are all kinds of mixes in terms of time durations and times of day and so forth. And so what we'd like to do is engage our local FDA chapter and their local library to help structure a program that they think will work and see what works best and then move on from there.
Great. Thank you, Dick. Sarah, what if someone has complaints or questions about their retirement plans? Should they dial the main number and will that get routed to the correct individual, or how should that interaction?
Yeah, it's really simple. Just dial the phone number that I provided earlier, the 866-444-3272, and it's good nationwide. You'll dial the number. Some offices you have a live operator who answers right away. In our office we do. But what's great about that number, too, is you can select a specific office. So, like I said, we're in San Francisco, so sometimes we get East Coasters call us because we're still open when they get home at the end of the day. It's a federal law. It doesn't matter where you're calling from, and you can call up. Once the operator answers, you can say, I have a question about my pension. I have a question about my health. I want to find out about having someone come and make a presentation. Anything and everything that you might have a question about that falls under our purview, you can just call that number.
All right. Thank you very much. Aaron, do we have any questions?
I'm showing one question from Lori Burgass from Fond du Lac Public Library. Your line is now open.
Hi, everyone. How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
Great. I was wondering how to spell Noreen's last name. Sorry. I'd just like to know, I would like to email her to put me in touch with a local chapter. Could you go back? There we go.
There you go.
Thank you.
There you go. There's the email, Lori.
Thank you. That's all I needed.
That's great. We'll be waiting for your email.
Dick, we know that sometimes people hesitate to come into a library for a group course or even one-on-one workshops. Are there some innovative ways that pro bono advisors have worked with libraries or other organizations to reach out into the community or to reach those audiences?
You know, I don't know of any magic. What I've learned in my number of years of practice is that folks have to want to do these things. We can preach all we like, but realistically, to have a proper financial plan, you have to do a little work on your own. In Massachusetts, we run large sessions. I've been with groups as big as 1,500 people, getting lectures and then doing one-on-one planning and sitting around a table doing workshops. I mean, I don't know how much bigger group you're going to get than that.
Yeah, and are those usually designed as day events, or how were those arranged?
Well, those are run by the state treasurer's office. I remember one I went to was called a money conference for women, held in a big hotel in Boston. There were 1,600 women there. There were about 100 financial advisors, and we sat around in round tables of 10 people and one advisor per table, and went through a couple of hours of broad financial planning training. And then everybody had a workbook, and they started filling things out, and we were there to be a professional resource to help them. We also did a little one-on-one standing in the hallway. I mean, literally, we stood in a line, and people would come up and pick us off, and we'd go find a corner in the hallway and do a 10 or 15-minute consultation with a person.
How about you, Sarah? Any advice in terms of reaching out into the community or getting patrons in the door for these sorts of workshops?
A lot of times partnering with certain other organizations I think is a great idea. Obviously, you just heard from the financial planners, but if you want to aim it, like if it's African American History Month, you can do something that caters to the African American community in all different levels. And oftentimes, so there's organizations within the Latino community, the same can be said of women's issues. It can be done as well. And that's a great way because different people have different contacts. We found that the one here in San Francisco, we did one through the main library here in San Francisco. They put out a newspaper, and they had a little article about it in their newspaper. Another one of our libraries in Nevada, they had like an email blast that they would send out. Another library put in with colored paper. They would put it as people walked in the door. They would have the information there as well. There's all these different kinds of resources. But I find that for us, because we also have the same issue where we want to maximize our time and money, and how do you get names, is we try to reach out to people who we think might be interested in partnering with us. So like I mentioned, the Latino community, we thought, well, the largest group of Latino in California is certainly the Mexican population, so we reached out to the Mexican consulate to see what kind of events they were putting on as well, and we worked with them. That's something that we've always tried to do.
Great.
It's also helpful to provide the right kind of professional assistance. I mean, if it's going to be a Hispanic group, then we'll find Hispanic speakers that can relate, speak the right language, and appreciate the cultural differences.
Absolutely, yes.
So I have a question that came in on the chat board from Cynthia Hunt. She's asking if she can get copies of the slides. Cynthia, what we'll do is once we complete the webinar, we'll provide a recording on our website, which is consumerfinance.gov/library-resources. There you'll be able to click to the librarian training website and watch the video of this webinar. So you'll be able to fast forward it to the information that you'll need and freeze frame it and grab whatever you need that way. But we generally don't provide our PowerPoint slides just as a matter of policy. So, but we will have a video archive available, and like I said, please check out the handout section because a lot of the resources that were mentioned are available there. Erin, do we have any other questions?
At this time, I'm showing no questions.
All right, well, I see that we're at time. We've run our hour, so I would like to thank our guests and thank all of you for participating in today's webinar, and please join us again next month. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining.
This concludes today's conference. All participants may disconnect at this time. Thank you.